What's up, everybody? Welcome back for part 2 of our episode with Miss Alicia here with our Next Level Teaching podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, chopping as usual, with our co-host, Tori Rodriguez, T-Rod, and we're back.
Yeah.
Part 2. We're going deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we ended things last time, we were kind of talking about this past school year, the COVID year, as many of us are referring to it. And I know that you taught summer school.
I did.
Over the summer.
Yeah.
And I did as well. And so talk to me a little bit about why.
For the love of the money, for the love of the kids.
Listen, I love the kids, but I need the money. Yes.
No doubt.
I did. After the COVID year, which was a struggle, I did decide to go back into the fire and go back in there again and teach summer school. Yes, because honestly, I needed the money. For sure. So I did. Our school, or our county rather, took a bit of a different approach. It wasn't a traditional summer school.
Yeah.
Like, if you failed the school year or semester, you go to summer school to make up for that course so you can progress to the next grade.
But nobody failed.
Nobody failed.
Right,
Nobody failed. But yes, so they called it summer enrichment.
Yeah.
So it was meant to be an enrichment. So I do teach 6th grade math, but the kids that I had were rising 6th graders. They were actually still 5th graders.
Okay.
So they was baby.
Babies. Goodness, yes. Little kids. And it was definitely a different experience.
Yeah.
Some of these kids, some of the kids that I had, they hadn't physically been in the classroom since 4th grade.
Yeah.
Because you remember when school shut down back in March of 2020?
2020? Almost.
March, yeah. So some of them hadn't been, and, we were told, they're going to be so nervous and shy and scared because they haven't been in the school since 4th grade.
Right.
Listen.
Nicole over there
They
laughing.
came in ready. They was ready when they shut it down.
Yes.
Oh, they were hyped. They were ready.
And that's how I felt. I had rising 7th graders, and I felt the same way too. And it just was kind of surprising.
Yeah, I was scared. I'm like, hold on now.
Hold on. Keep your distance. 6 feet.
I wasn't expecting this. Yeah, no, they were very super comfortable and ready. They had their little friends there. They probably hadn't seen their friends in a minute. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it has its pros and cons.
Talk about some of those, because I saw some of that as well. And I think that there were some good things about it.
Yeah. So as far as the kids and them acting a little crazy, some of them, I guess I'll leave that as the cons. I already talked about their behavior, but the pros would be it kind of set me up to know like what's to come. Like I'm kind of prepared for it now, because when the semester starts, I'm gonna have some of those kids that I had during the summer. So it's kind of, I braced myself for it. I'm like, ready, okay. Like, I know. And then I kind of already got a chance to kind of build relationships with some of them already. So they kind of know me and, I know what to expect. They know what to expect from me. So I would just look at that as a pro. Something else. So like I said, it was a summer enrichment program. And so I guess so the county created these lessons, essentially. It's not like we had to create our own lessons plans. The county made them and we were to just use the county lessons. And the county, I guess they chose to hyper-focus on certain standards that they viewed as essential standards, which were fractions and decimals. A lot of kids, even adults, hate fractions.
Yep, my dad hates them.
Yeah, so, and I don't dislike fractions, but because the kids hate it so much, I hate teaching them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I do. And teaching 6th grade, our 6th grade standards, we do dividing fractions, in my district. But the standard, the lessons that they had me doing adding, subtracting, all the other operations, but I don't typically teach those. So I kind of tweaked the lessons a bit. I tweaked them a bit, but at the same time, I did kind of stick to the script as much as I could.
Look at you, I didn't.
But you made the necessary adjustments to do what was best for your kids.
I did.
Well, and they said they wanted it to be fun.
Fun. That was the big word they used. They used fun.
Yes.
But I honestly, the way the lessons were structured, it was no fun. It was just like they were just in school.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a fun experience. They described it as being like a a camp with a dash of learning in it.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like that. The most fun they got was just, me. Just us cracking on each other. I mean, they kept it entertaining, the kids with their behavior. They sure did. But that was it.
Yeah.
It was the lessons were structured in a way where it was a lot of collaboration.
Yeah, which they haven't done in so long.
Yes. But what I did not like, so for me with the lessons or the group of kids they had, so the learning levels in the class were all over the place.
Yeah.
So a normal school year, I guess we would say we had gifted kids in there. We had gen ed. There were definitely, sped kids in there.
Yep.
But they were all just in one setting. The sped kids had no accommodations or anything.
Yep.
To me, that would be the downside to it because I have so many different learning levels going on there. I don't know if all the kids, I feel like all of them didn't benefit from it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something that really...
I agree with that.
That's what bothered me about it, that I did not like. Because like, I could see this kid in there and that I know is struggling.
Yeah.
But I have all these other kids. And, I know that the D word, differentiation, comes into place. But in that amount of allotted time that they gave us, like, how? Like, that was a struggle.
Yeah.
Doing that. Then they go to fun word. What a fun at?
Yeah.
What was it fun for? But I did use, like, the way the lessons were set up, I did use some strategies, though, that I had never used before.
So it helped grow you.
It did. I have to say it did. I did use strategies that I had never used. I took a course at Georgia State in my college, and it was over adding and subtracting fractions, but using those little models that they use. Color it, shade it in, and
Jay like no.
Yeah,
I'm like and Jay like no.
I took a whole course on that, and I never used it. Like I've never ever used it except this summer. I actually used it, and I used my little chart paper and drew it out. I was proud of that thing. I kept that thing. So it had its pros and cons. Yeah, for sure. It was definitely an experience.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I threw out a lot of the stuff that they gave me. We were supposed to get. I know. I'm such a. I have been a rebel the past year plus, and it is all because of this podcast. 100%. Because I'm learning that it's okay to be a rebel if you're getting done what you're supposed to.
That's it. That's it.
And so I tossed a lot of the stuff that they had because I wanted to make it fun. And the school that I was at, they said that was okay, to be honest. They were like, if you don't like what the county has, toss it. And so I actually did my best to make it fun and trick the kids into doing math. And we did a lot of real world stuff. We did a lot with like integers and rational numbers and proportions. And I went to Target and videoed myself going around looking at different food items, and they had to find the price per ounce or the price per egg or whatnot. And then I went to like a Sam's Club and did the same thing over there. And so the kids got a lot of real world with that. And so I did my best to have fun with it as well. But I saw a lot of pros and cons. So one of my cons was that same thing with the grouping and the differentiation that was difficult. But I think because our kids, so many of them haven't been in the classroom in so long, I feel like this school year and summer school really started it. Kids are having to learn how to reschool. There are so many of them. There are so many kids that have never even been in middle school before or high school before. You know what I mean? They missed their transition year. They missed their 6th grade year or their 9th grade year.
My nephew went from 8th grade, pandemic hit, and his whole freshman year, and now he's going into high school as a sophomore.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in the actual building.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be, he missed his whole freshman experience. And I feel like he needed that transitional time.
And a lot of kids do. And so I think that's why the summer school program did work out well the way that it did. But I think that's something that we have to remember in this school year is that there are so many kids that have not schooled in so long that they've forgotten how to do that. And so we have to show grace in a different fashion than we had been during the pandemic year because now we've got kids that have so many gaps.
Yes.
And we have kids like academically, but then also socially, emotionally. They have not worked in groups. They have not sat at the lunch table and had conversations with kids. They're going to have to learn how to be social again in a totally different way. And so I think that that's something that we have to remember as we walk into this school year, or as we're like in this school year.
And get ready for the energy.
Yeah.
Because they opened up your summer room class
Oh,
ready.
yeah, they ready.
Yeah. What are you doing? It's interesting because like a lot of educators across America and across the globe, they go through these 9-10 months of school and it's like, okay, the summertime. But then there are those that's like, man, as much as I need to take a break, I need this extra income because, they only getting paid a fraction of their worth anyway. Why are we talking about fractions? Yeah, like I did that. You know what I'm saying? But so it's like, okay, I got to go now and do summer school when I really need to take a break. What do you do? What's your self-care regimen? Like, what do you do to take care of yourself to make sure you're at peace, to make sure you're in a good place?
My self-care regimen, I feel like it's very typical or basic, rather. Like, I mean, it takes place on the weekends, obviously, and I typically would just go shopping. I'll go to the malls, go get my nails done, toes done. That's like my me time.
But you're intentional about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go to the mall. There's a couple malls that I flip flop every other weekend. I go to this mall this weekend, this one, the other one, and I just go.
No wonder you got to teach us summer school.
A lot of times window shopping. I just look around. I just like walk around, just look at things, and
And how do you not carry it home? I imagine there are a bunch of educators that's listening right now. I don't imagine. I know they are.
Yeah.
How do you turn it off? And is that something you struggle with? Because Tori will tell you, we've had all types of guests. Some that say, when I leave, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, I'm out. I'm good. I'll see y'all next morning. And then we got some whose parents or sibling, spouse have to be like, come out. It's 7 o'clock. Come home. You know what I'm saying? Like, dinner is cold. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I don't stay. I don't do the staying late. I mean, no, as far as that. But I guess mentally, it depends on the day and what happened, the events that took place in the day. Sometimes I will take it home if if a kid is going through something. We've had situations with students. If, like I said, those kids that have a lot of things going on at home, it gets to you. Like that's like my soft spot. It gets to me, and I'll take it home sometimes, but for the most part, I don't. I guess I'm like that teacher where, you got your own mental boundaries. But we just shut it off.
But I think what you said there, because there is a difference between physically taking it home and mentally taking it home.
Absolutely.
And they can both weigh on you. Right. Sometimes the mentally can weigh on you even more than the physically taking things home to, cut out task cards or laminate things or grade papers or whatnot, write lesson plans. Like, that's one thing, but taking home the mental weight of what kids are going through. Let's be honest, we're always thinking about, well, how could I improve upon this lesson? What could I do? We see something in the real world and we're like, oh, that could work. Right. And so it is even harder to separate that.
Yeah.
That one's even harder.
Yeah, it is. Because sometimes I'll be home wondering, like what's going on with the kid, or just, there have been times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I'm thinking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you also got to say.
We connected to them, like.
Right.
Yeah. They become your children. We call them.
Yeah.
They do.
Like, not having kids. They are my kids. They are, and I tell them that. I'm like, you are my children. I will refer to you as my children. Yes, I have 2 children that both have 4 legs, but you are my children.
Yeah.
And you end up, you spend more time with them than some of their parents do.
Yeah.
And especially in middle school, that's the age where they are pulling away from their parents.
Right.
And so we become that person, that adult that they latch onto for structure, for love, for, being someone to talk to.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
when teachers tell me I didn't sign up to be like an uncle, I didn't sign up to be a mom, I'm like, well, you did in a sense. You might not have realized that's what came with it, but they need that extra.
Yep.
They need that extra from you.
Yeah.
Because they're not getting it at home.
Nope.
And they spend more time with the teachers than they do with their parents oftentimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you first started teaching?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
What do I know now that I wish I knew?
When you first started, or what piece of advice would you give
To a first year?
I guess
teacher?
what I know. I guess I can roll with that. What I know now. I guess when I went into teaching, I thought it would be all just me teaching. I guess I didn't expect to, like, I'm real big on relationships, to just really love and care about these kids so much, like I do.
Yeah.
Truly, like, even
look at
the
that
rough,
smile.
the rough ones, don't be the.
Yeah. But those are the ones you end up falling the hardest for. Like, oh.
Those are the ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I went into it, I
You thought it would just be teach. And I think that's what a lot of people honestly expect is like, we always say, I just want to do my job and I just want to teach. But we wear like 150 different hats.
But how can they, I mean, what are they doing to prepare you all for?
Nothing.
They don't.
That's the problem.
No.
Like, there should be a whole courses on building relationships and seeing warning signs and de-escalating. Because those are the things that...
The closest I feel like that we have is like the special ed class that you have to take in college, where they talk to you about different like disabilities. So whether it's autism or, ADHD or, I mean, that's the closest that I felt like I got, but there was never, there's never a parent contact. Like how to deal with parents, how to contact parents. There's never anything about, de-escalating.
Classroom control.
I mean, they say that there's classroom management classes and we like read books about it, but there is nothing like being in the classroom and actually managing
because it varies. Like, it's different for each class. Because each class has its own personality.
Yep.
And it's different within the class. Like, you handle each child differently.
And if you have a 90 to 96 Jeremy in your class, or you in trouble.
It's different. Like, I feel like that's a constant work in progress, that classroom management.
Absolutely.
Because it changes. You tweak it every year. And like I said, with each class has its own little personality. So, you have that chill class.
Yep.
Then you got that class that want to be hyped up.
And it even varies. So like for us during summer school, we had the same group of kids that just rotated. So the same kids stuck together for every single class as they rotated. And the class dynamic can change throughout the day. I got them first and they quiet. They still sleepy. They're great. Like they're working, but and then last period gets them. Good luck.
See, it was different for us. See, our kids, like Nicole and I, we both taught summer school. And something I forgot to mention is I teach math, but they actually had me teaching a science class.
No.
Really?
How did I leave that out? Y'all, listen, I do not.
Oh, wow.
Dang, that's hateful.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, did you do all the lesson planning and tell her what to do?
I joined her class. I brought my kids in with her.
Yeah.
And so I was really just a student.
Co-teacher?
I was the oldest student. I wasn't even a co-teacher. I was the oldest student in the class. I learned a lot. I did. I learned. She's a great teacher. I learned a lot.
Oh, there you go.
But I think that's also important for us to realize what we're good at. But also, I feel like we don't get the opportunity as teachers to observe each other enough.
I agree.
That is something you can learn so much from each other. And why do we vote on Teacher of the Year?
Oh my gosh, do not get me started. I say this every year. Like, how do I pick a teacher? Like, Nicole is nominated, right? That's my girl. I love her. I know Right.
But
But like,
you've never been in her class?
Prior to the summer school, I hadn't ever been in her classroom.
Yes.
I feel like it's a popularity thing. Like, I don't like that whole Teacher of the Year process.
100%. My mom always asked her students, who should I vote for? Who is your favorite teacher? And tell me why. And then she would, based off of that, make her vote on that. And so that's what I started doing, because it is like, how are we supposed to vote on another teacher for teacher of the year when I've never been in your classroom?
Exactly.
And we should have the opportunity. And let me tell you, that video, that 30-minute video that you're showing during my planning period that I just have playing in the background because I still got to get my stuff done. Or I have a meeting during that time. You show the videos during my curriculum meeting. What am I supposed to do about that?
Exactly.
So I wish that we had more of an opportunity to go around and observe teachers' classrooms so that we had, because you can learn from the good, but let's be honest, you also learn from the bad that you see, right? Mm-hmm. That was where, and during student teaching, I feel like I learned the most was seeing, ooh, that's something that I want to make note of that I don't want to do in my classroom. Mm-hmm. Because you can learn just as much from that as you can from, this is something I do want to do in the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's rich.
No, that's good because our school has a new teacher network program that I was part of the committee. So I would actually go around and observe some of the teachers. I don't know why they chose me to do this, but I'm going around observing like the new teachers in the school. And it was eye-opening to see because you do learn a lot. You learn things that you should be doing and things that you should not, because it was almost like I'm looking through the lens of an evaluator, like one of the administrators that come in and evaluate. So you kind of see all the things that they're actually looking for and things that you would change. You learn from that.
It must be nice to be an administrator to be able to see that from an evaluator perspective, but like they're not implementing that into the classroom. So where's my opportunity to learn and grow there?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but that teacher of the year thing, I say that every year.
So separate from that, what's one thing, because Tori's going to hit you with rapid fire in a minute, right? What's one thing, what's one thing that you could change about the educational system if you had the power?
Well, you already know, I'm sure every teacher says this, but the money to pay. But
no, it's true.
Aside from the pay, again, yes, for sure. Again, I love the kids and I care about their well-being, and these kids go through a lot. So I feel that something they should change is, I feel like more programs should be implemented that are centered towards like mental health.
Jay, all about that.
And I was actually, again, I've been saying Nicole, you might as well bring on in here, but I was, Nicole and I were talking about maybe getting like a program, like for young girls and young boys, like in this, at the school, like somehow starting this program.
Like a mentorship program.
Yes, like a mentorship program. Like I would love for somebody to come in and talk to these young boys and like they go do like little fun things on the weekend, like, I don't know, go hiking or something. Just do something like and talk, and like same thing for the girls.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we don't have stuff like that. Yeah. Like I feel like the kids would really benefit from that, because a lot of these kids, honestly, they hate being at home on the weekends because home life is just so rough. They look forward to coming to school.
I had a couple of kids that, as we were leaving on the last day of summer school, were like, I don't want summer school to be over, and I'm like, you would? Okay, but that says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot. You're right. And I think that there are programs out there, but it's hard to find them. It's hard to get them approved to be in the schools. But I think you're right. And Jeremy, Jeremy, tell her what your one thing that you would change, because I feel like that fits hand in hand with the mental health.
So I feel that every classroom in America needs to not just have a teacher, but either have a counselor or a psychiatrist, a social worker in every classroom. Because we talk so much about social and emotional learning, and that's why our company produced our next level students, our character curriculum, math, science, English, history, all of that's great, but the character, what's happening with we really talk about focusing on the whole child, what's going on inside their head, inside their heart. And a lot of these kids have experienced so much trauma, and even if they haven't experienced trauma, anxiety, depression, low self-worth, especially in this day and age when they're on social media and they're seeing how everybody else is living, and they're wondering, where's my dad? How come my food don't look like this? How come my house doesn't have like this, look like this? Like there's so many things that they're dealing with on the inside. It's one thing, like we learned from a few episodes ago, what it was to say is behavior will always trump the lesson plan or something like that.
Academics.
The academics. And so it's like, what's going on with their behavior? What's going on in their heart, inside their mind? So I would put a counselor or a social worker or a psychiatrist like in every classroom to kind of navigate that space.
Well, and it would take a hat off of the teachers.
Absolutely.
Right? Like that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't
The mom,
get
the counselor.
that.
You shouldn't have to do all that.
No,
Yeah.
like we aren't, like when we go to college, we don't have a class for that. Mm-hmm. And so if we don't have a class for it, if we don't learn how to do that, if we're not taught how to do that correctly, then why are we given that responsibility?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to navigate it correctly.
Right.
Let's be honest. I mean, we see the same thing. There are a couple of states that are trying it out, but with police reform to a certain extent, looking at getting social workers in there to help navigate through some of those calls that come in that are mental health related.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I think that we have to realize that everyone has a job and you can't place another role on someone else's job if they're not if they're not certified for that, if that's really not what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Right.
How do we expect someone to do something well if that's not what they've been taught how to do?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. It's like they're expecting them to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's my thing. Here at Next Level Teaching, we don't just talk and discuss and invent. We come up with solutions.
Yeah.
And until we're able to have a counselor or a therapist or a social worker in the classroom, we just need for our educators to continue to do what they can do and be the best that they can be, which is what you do. Meet them where they are, build relationships with them, be down to earth, be willing to learn when you need to.
Yep, be willing to grow.
Not taking things personal, you know what I'm saying, and meeting them where they are and then building out those relationships and then being willing to make the necessary adjustments while still taking care of yourself at the same time.
Yep.
Oh, I've been listening. Man, we appreciate you
we do
hanging
a
out
lot.
with us. This was good. Yeah, we got to bring you back.
You are phenomenal. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Thank you for coming on and talking to us about your story. And I'm excited to hear more about it.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for tuning in with us. We hope that you guys leave us a review.
Yes.
Leave us some 5 stars.
5 stars. Ooh.
Share it with a friend.
And you know what else our producer just shared with us? We got to do rapid fire.
Yes.
You thought you got out.
I forgot. So.
Run it back.
Yes.
Thank you,
All
Ryan.
right.
I'm ready.
Here we go.
60 seconds. Let's go.
All right. What's your favorite 90s jam?
Ooh.
Because I was listening to some this morning.
90s jam. Y'all probably don't like, but Backstreet Boys.
Hey, there we go. There we go. I love it.
All right. Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Oh, okay. Favorite day of the week?
Friday.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at keeping secrets?
A 10.
Oh, okay. I'm going to hit you with another one of these. Favorite childhood TV show?
Fresh Prince.
Oh, yes. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to?
I thought you said medieval. She said,
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if I
10
want to go anywhere back.
I know,
But
that's
where?
right.
I don't know.
It's a great time to be alive.
Yeah.
My child, somewhere in my childhood, I guess.
And what's your favorite car?
Oh, see, I'm not a car person. Like, I'm not, like, my favorite car. Like, I don't have a car type. I guess the car that
The
I'm
Martyr. We'll see you next week.
I don't know different cars. So I was like, my car, Toyota.
She like one that got some AC
Right.
you feel me, and good brakes.
Girl, you know what? Look at you for being grateful for what you got. I'm
There you
here
go.
for it.
There you
I
go.
am here for it.
Yes. So now we can go back to all the closeout
Yes,
stuff.
yes, because
5-star rating.
apparently I was just a little premature and all that.
Oh, no,
so,
me too.
So
I was like, see you next week.
yeah.
Ryan was like, we need to do
Excuse
rapid
me.
fire, please.
Woo, y'all, we a mess today. But we hope that you had fun and laughed
Yes.
along with us because we surely laughed a lot today.
Yes. And shout out to Nicole. Thank you
Yes.
for
Yes.
making this recommendation.
Episode 33.
Yes.
That's what it was, episode
Mark
33.
Day in the middle. Check it out.
All right, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.